Chapter 14. Chapter 14. If you do this, you will never worry about your ingratitude. If you do this, you will never worry about ingratitude. I recently met a businessman in Texas who was born up with indignation. I was warned that he would tell me about it within a 15 minutes after I met him. I did. He did. The incident he was angry about had occurred 11 months previously, but he was still burned up about it. He could not speak of anything else. He had given his 34 employees $10,000 in Christmas bonus, approximately $300 each, and no one had thanked him. I am sorry, he complained bitterly, that I ever gave them a penny. That I ever gave them a penny. An angry man said Confucius, it always full of poison. This man was so full of poison that I honestly pitied him. He was about to 60-year-old. Now, life insurance companies figure that on the average he will live slightly more than the two-thirds of the difference between our present age and the 80. So this man, if he was lucky, probably had about 14 or 15 years to live. Yet he had already wasted almost one of his few remaining years by his bitterness and resentment over an event that was past and gone. I pitied him. Instead of wallowing in resentment and self-pity, he might have asked himself why he didn't get any appreciation. Maybe he had underpaid and overworked his employees. Maybe Maybe they considered a Christmas bonus not a gift but something they had earned. Maybe he was so critical and unapproachable that no one dared to care to thank him. Maybe they felt he gave the bonus because most of the profit were going for the taxes anyways. On the other hand, maybe the employees were selfish, mean, and ill mannered. Maybe this, maybe that. I don't know any more about it than you do, but I do know what Dr. Samuel Johnson said. Gratitude is a fruit of great cultivation. You do not find it among the gross people. Here is the point I am trying to make. This man made the human and distressing mistake of distressing mistake of expecting gratitude. He just didn't know human nature. If you saved a man's life, would you ever expect him to be a grateful? You might, but Samuel Leopold, who had who was the famous criminal lawyer before he became the judge, saved 78 men from going to the electric chair. How many of these men do you suppose stopped to thank Samuel Lisbold or even look the trouble to send him a Christmas card? How many? Yes, that's right, none. None. Christ, Christ held 10 leper in one afternoon, but how many those leper ever stopped to thank him? Only one. Look it up, and Saint Luke, when Christ turned around to his disciple and asked, "Where are the other nine?" They had all run away, disappeared without a thank. Let me ask you a question. Why should you and I, or the businessman in the Texas, expect more thanks for our small favor than was given Jesus Christ? And when it comes to the money matter, well, that is even more hopeless. Charles Schwab told me that he had once saved a bank cashier who had speculated in the stock market with funds belonging to the bank. Schwab put up the money to save his man from going to the penitentiary. Was the cashier grateful? Oh yes, for the little while. Then he turned Ernest square and revealed him and denounced him, the very man who had kept him out of the jail. That's how it goes. Human nature has always been a human nature and it probably won't change in your lifetime. So why not accept it? Why not be realistic about it as a old Marcus Aurelius, one of the wisest men who ever ruled a Roman Empire? He wrote in his diary one day, I am going to meet people today who talk too much people who talk too much, people who are selfish, egotistical, egotistical, ungrateful. But I won't be surprised or disturbed, for I could not imagine a world without such people. That makes sense, does not it? If you and I go around grumbling about ingratitude, who is to blame? Is it human nature or it is your ignorance of human nature? Let's not expect gratitude. Then, if we get some occasionally, it will come as a delightful surprise. If we don't get it, we don't be disturbed. Here is the first point I am trying to make in this chapter. It is natural for the people to forget to be a grateful. So if we go around expecting gratitude, we are heated straight for the lot of heartache. Here is the first point I am trying to make in this chapter. It is natural for people to forget to be grateful. So, if we go around expecting gratitude, we are headed straight for the lot of headache. I know a woman in New York who is always complaining because she is lonely. Not one of her relatives want to go near her, and no wonder. If you visit her, she will tell you for hours what she did for her nieces when they were children. She nursed them through the measles and mumps and whooping cough, and she boarded them for a year. She helped to send one of them through the business school, and she made a home for the other until she get married. Do the nieces come to see her? Oh, yes, now and then, after the split of duty. But they dread at this visit. They know they will have to sit and listen for hours to have failed reproaches. They will be treated to an endless litany of bitter complaint and self-pitying sign. When when this woman can no longer blood gone bed or bully her nieces into coming to see her, she has one of her spell. She developed a heart attack. Is the heart attack real? Oh yes, the doctor says she has a nervous heart, suffered from the palpitation. But the doctor also said they can do nothing for her. Her trouble is emotional. What is woman really want is love and attention, but she call is gratitude, and she will never get a gratitude or love because she demand it. She think due. It's her due. There are the thousands of women like her, women who are ill from ingratitude, loneliness, and neglect. They long to be loved, but the only way to in this world that they can ever hope to be loved is to stop asking for it and start pouring out love without hope of return. Does that sound like a sheer impractical visionary idealism? And idealism. It isn't. It's just a hot sense. It's a good way for you and me to find the happiness we long for. I know I have seen it happen right in my own family. My own mother and father gave her the joy of helping others. We were poor, always overwhelmed by debt. At poor as we were, My father and mother always managed to send money every year to an orphan home, the Christian home in the council block. Loa mother and father never visited the home. Probably no one thanked them for their gift except the letter, but they were richly replied. But they had joy of helping little children without wishing for or expecting any gratitude in return.